All right, so children, yeah, it's a 1.5 hour session, and you already received the worksheets that Teacher Burn sends to all of you. So what we're going to do is we will go through the questions, but at the same time, yeah, because of what happened on the earlier this week, right? I was telling those who were early. Yeah, some of them in school, they did not start with algebra, so they are not so clear. That's why we will put in a little bit of teaching here. So that is what I'm going to do, so that at least we are all on the same page. All right. Okay.
All right. Is Nabil one of the algebra?
I don't know. So we have to ask him whether Nabil's first chapter is algebra. Did you do that in school? Oh no. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, algebra has to do with using letters of the alphabet, and we use that because it is an unknown number. All right. Now, it's not that we are new to unknown numbers. In unknown numbers, we actually draw model, we call it one unit, or we call it one part. So we are quite familiar with that. But now when we are using algebra, we are just using other letters. So I can use A, I can use B, I can use C, I can use X, I can use Y, and so on. Okay? So generally, it's like that. Okay? Now, in arithmetic, generally, the numbers and the operations will appear. So, for example, like 1 plus 2 equals 3. But in algebra, some of these numbers are represented by letters. Okay? So, it can be one letter, it can be two letters, it can be three letters or more. All right? But usually in primary school, we will not try to scare you by giving you too many unknowns. Yeah? And usually we use only one unknown. Sometimes we use two unknowns if, let's say, the relationship is functional. Okay, what is the meaning of functional? Functional has something to do with like something is dependent on the value of the other. For example, I can say like length is dependent on the breadth. For example, in a rectangle, the length is always twice the breadth. So if my breadth is 2, my length must be 4. But if my breadth is 3, my length will change to 6. So the numbers actually depend on another variable, which is also unknown, right? So that's why when there's some kind of functional relationships, we may have more than one unknown. Okay? Now, there are some basic rules that we need to know. So just quickly to go through between arithmetic and algebra. Basically, we are learning the 4 operations. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, in arithmetic, let's talk about just addition first. Okay, now, so for example, 1 plus 2 is 3, right? This is so basic. In algebra, I can write something like this: 1 plus A equals to 3. I can also write A plus 1 equals to 3. Now, if I were to give you these two, then I will ask you, now, if I were to ask you the value of A, hang on, I lost my mouse. Where's my mouse? Oh, here. Okay. The value of A in 1 plus A and the value of A in A plus 1, are they the same? Are they the same? Do we know whether they are the same? Tommy?
Huh?
Will the value of A be the same in these two algebraic equations that I have just circled?
Yes.
Yes, they will be the same, right? Because you can actually calculate, right? A must have been 2, isn't it? Right? Because 1 plus 2 is 3. Then 2 plus 1 is 3. So A retains the same value. Okay? We say that they are equal. The property is commutative. What is the meaning of commutative? Commutative means you can swap your equations, turn them around. They will still be correct. So like 1 plus 2 or 2 plus 1, it will be the same. Okay, that is commutative property for addition. But for subtraction, okay, it may look a little different. So arithmetic, of course, subtraction, we know something like 3 minus 1 is 2. But in algebra, okay, for example, I stick to something like that. 3 minus A equals 2. Then I give you another variation. I swap the A and the 3 around. A minus 3 equals 2. So now I'm asking, is the value of A in the first algebraic equation and the second one, are they the same value?
No.
No, right? I saw Tongyi shake her head. Tommy says no. Nabil, do you know why it's no? Do you know why it's no? You can actually calculate the value, you know. Do you realize you can actually calculate the value? For example, if A minus 3 minus A is 2, that means A must have been 1, right? In one of the equation. The other one, if A minus 3 is 2, then A must have been 5. So the letter A actually takes on two values, so they are not commutative. All right. Okay, now they hang on me again. I don't know why today my computer is lagging. Okay, so it is no. Now we come to our third operation. Our third operation is multiplication. Now, in arithmetic, we just say like 3 times 4 equals to 12. Okay, algebra, I will substitute with one value. For example, 3 times A equals to 3A. Then what about, okay, I think I know why. Every time somebody admits, right, try to come in, my computer hangs and then I cannot go on. Okay, A times 3, I get A and a 3. Are they going to be equal? Is the value of A the same? Anyone? Is the value of A the same?
Yes.
Yes, right? It's the same, right? Because if let's say A is 4, for example, 3 times 4 will get you 12. 4 times 3 also gets you 12, right? So actually, multiplication is also commutative. All right? Okay?
Oh, there's somebody new.
Huh?
Charles, I think.
I think we have 2 more people who have just come in. Yeah, so you go see your friends. Okay, let's talk about division first. Now, if division, let's say I give you 12 divided by 3 equals to 4. Now, what if I were to give you 12 divided by A equals to 4, or A divided by 12? Yeah, I shouldn't write 3, I should write 4. A divided by 12 also equals to 4. Does A take on the same value? Does A take on the same value?
No.
No, yeah, it doesn't take on the same value. In the first case, when 12 divided by A equals to 4, A must have been 3, right? Because 12 divided by 3 will be 4. But in the second case, when you take A and divide by 12 to get 4, then A must have been 48, right? If not, then you will not get your 4. Okay, so it is not true. So A takes on two values there. Now we know that only addition and multiplication, it is commutative. That means you can swap the values around, and they will still be correct. Okay, now let's look at something else. We look at the default setting for multiplication. All right, now when we have a combination of numbers as well as letters, or just letters, then the multiplication sign is actually assumed and it is not written. Okay, you must know, we do not write the multiplication sign. So for example, if I want to tell you it's 2 times B, I will actually just write 2B. I will not write as 2 times B. Okay, so you must know that it is implied. Get it? If I have letters by themselves, let's say B times C, then I will just join the two together. I will call it BC, or I can call it CB, but I will not put the times in. What if the two letters are the same? What if, let's say it's D times D? Then D times D is the same one. I will call it D square. Okay, I will not put D times D. So that is for multiplication. Okay, so Nabil, I hope you are understanding this. These are just the very, very basics before we can even play around with our equations.
Where did Carl go?
I don't know. Okay, so anyway, we just have to go on because lesson has started, right? So no choice. Okay, so what about the default setting for the first term inside an equation? Okay.
What's a BODMAS? What's a BODMAS?
Oh, you don't know what the BODMAS is? What about Tongyi? Do you know what is BODMAS? She knows. What about Nabil? You know what is bot mass? Oh dear. Okay, okay.
What color is that?
All right. Bot mass is actually an acronym. That means it's a short form that represents these things. B is for brackets, O is for order, D is for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. Now, why is it written this way? Because when we are solving our equation, right, there is a rule that we have to follow. Everything that appears in brackets, that means the B, must be done first. Okay, everything that appears in the brackets must be done first. So that's why B appears first. The second letter O, which represents order, order means like D square, D cube, or D to the power of 4. All right, those kind with a little number on top. Those are known as order. Okay, like this one is under order, which all of you actually may have just dabbled into it very briefly because you only learn area. Area will have this, or you learn volume. Volume will have a little 3, right? That is cube. Okay. Other than that, you don't learn any other numbers. But once you go to secondary school, you will have like to the power of 4, 5, 6, and so on. It can get very, very big. Okay. So that one is the second place. So usually we don't have that in our primary school. So we can happily skip that first. Then comes the next two that must be done together. D and M are actually of the same importance. D division, M multiplication. So if you have an equation that has both division and multiplication, you need to look at the equation and follow the left to right rule. If the division appears on the left of the multiplication, you do division first. If multiplication appear on the left of the division, you do the multiplication first. Okay, so that is the D and the M. And the last one is the A and the S. That is addition and subtraction. They also have the same importance. So if you see addition before subtraction on the left, you will do addition first. If you see subtraction on the left of addition, you will do subtraction first. So that is the BODMAS rule. Okay. Now, how does an equation look like? So I will just show you a simple equation. For example, okay, so we have like 3p plus 2p minus 4p. This is an equation. Okay. Now, notice that I have a minus, I have a plus, but in front of the 3p, there is nothing. So the 3p here is my first term because this is the beginning of the equation, right? This is the first term. When there is nothing written in front of it, it is always a plus. Okay, it is always a plus. All right. So how do we solve it? The operation actually belongs to the term that is behind it. That means I can circle it this way. The minus actually belongs to the 4p. Then the plus belongs to the 2p. And the plus belongs to the 3p, in which 3p being the first term, so you don't see the plus, but there is a plus there. So what happens here now is 3p plus 2p minus 4p will be equal to p. So I think for Nabil's case, if you don't understand this, we change the p into something like pen, for example. So it means 3 pens plus 2 pens minus 4 pens. Okay, so 3 pens plus 2 pens is 5 pens, right? Then you minus 4 pens, I will get 1 pen. So 1 pen, I will just write it as P. So I think Nabil may be wondering why I don't write the 1. So that 1 comes under another rule that I will quickly run through. Okay, so these are the other general rules. Okay, now, one of them has to do with repeated addition. Repeated addition means the same letter add the same letter add the same letter. Okay, we have to change it into multiplication. So for example, E plus E plus E plus E plus E is not E. You don't join them and then write E. Remember when we join? We join only when it is multiplication, right? If not, then you don't join. So it is not E. Now, E plus E plus E plus E plus E is also not E with a little 5 written on top. That is not right. What we do is, since there are 5 of the E's, right, I will just write it as 5 times E, and therefore it is known as 5E. Okay? So E